And so that's the thing. What do I do?
And there it is, the root of the majority of your problems.
But when seeing in any direction, if you will, what do you do? Feel like I'm quickly going down the road of another statistics where you read about these suicide rates of people, which I totally understand. This feeling of absolute uselessness, pointlessness in life. So, I hope I don't get there, so I guess that's why I'm sending in this YouTube video to a YouTube magician.
I started working on this video on Tuesday, and on Wednesday, we had gotten word that my girlfriend's best friend that she grew up with, her son, 30 years old, had committed suicide. As I said, this can happen to anyone. This was a guy who had seemingly everything going for him, and a very strong guy at that too, Marine. It's very, very difficult to get out of that dark place, but those who do often find themselves in a position to help be the guiding light for others who are still in there. I started this channel to teach people about magic and the occult, the importance of mindset, etc. And I often get messages telling me how much I've helped them regain their hope, regain their purpose, got them out of a dark place, helped them through the difficult time in their life. And that's really not what I set out to do, although it's given me the most fulfilling rewards by doing so. And I suspect that when you come through this, you're going to find yourself in a similar position at some point. But in order to get to that point to help others, you must first learn to help yourself.
I've got, I got this, started reading a little bit. I've got the Kabbalah book, Transformation, and I just can't seem to do anything. I just feel like it just starts getting too airy-fairy for me that I start leaving the ground and losing any groundedness, and that's what I'm looking for probably, so that I can make a better decision. I can't be up in the clouds. I need to be here and now, some practicality, some probably not, and as you can probably tell from the way I'm talking, my mind is just all over the place.
And I agree that you need to be more grounded. You can certainly use more of the element of earth, but more than that, you need the element of fire, as air and water are tending to dominate your chart. Thoughts and feelings, but no action and no tangible results. So you gotta add the fire, you gotta add the action. Air plus water plus fire equals earth. The solid results.
One last thing that I can think of, I got an astrology reading done by, if you're familiar with Jordan Maxwell, you probably are, through his services. This guy gave me this chart the way he did it on his own. You said what's your Gemini and or your Mars and your Venus. It looks like my Venus is in Pisces, Gemini, or Mars is in Gemini. I listened to the astrology reading and just nothing seemingly clicks. He talks about you gotta, you're good at the dragon's tail, but it can sting you back, which is in Libra for me. About Libra, the scales, maybe I'm always trying to balance it out, everything in my head, and that just keeps stinging me, and I need to pursue the dragon's head. Aries, fire, action.
Okay, so I don't know what type of chart you were given, but you notice that they've added the 13th constellation of Ophiuchus in there, which isn't a part of traditional astrology. And if you notice that the signs and the houses line up a little too perfectly, which never happens. At least I've never seen it. The odds would be like a gajillion to one. Also in this chart, it's showing you as a Taurus ascendant and dominated by the element of Earth. So I went ahead and plugged in your data as written at the top of this chart shown, which, by the way, I suspect is also inaccurate. The time of 5 p.m. is a little too precise. Not that it can't be, but, you know, going by the numbers, you got a 1 in 60 shot. I almost never see anyone with precisely, exactly, on the hour birth times. A few, but it's not that common. So if you can look up your birth time, you know, take the action, get a copy of your birth certificate or certificate of live birth, and see the time on there, that would be most helpful and provide the most accurate results instead of just ballparking it. Otherwise, we're going to have to go with the chart that I got from this data, which is completely different than what you're holding up. So I don't know what the F Jordan Maxwell's doing, but I think he owes you an apology and a refund. Surprised he doesn't have your midheaven conjunct the fixed star of David Icke in the sign of Alex Jones. Okay, maybe I do pick on him a bit.
And I seemingly don't know what the fire in action is. What do I even want anymore? So, thanks for listening.
And thank you for taking action and sending in the video question/ramble, and for taking the time to listen to my assessment. And we're not finished yet. This video is running a bit long, and so it's looking like I'm going to have to make this a two-part video. We've heard all about George's problems, and when we come back, we're going to take a look at his chart and start working on the solutions.
Alright, so what you just saw was me I'm at CHIO right now, which is the Children's Hospital here in Ottawa, Canada, the capital of Canada, where our Prime Minister, Trudeau, is chilling in Parliament, probably getting his dick sucked by some fucking secretary. No, I don't know. He might be faithful to his first lady wife, whatever you call it here in Canada. I don't think we have a term for Prime Minister's wife, and I don't even think they have to get married. I know that's I don't know if they want to call that a Christian concept in the States. They always want the president to have a wife. That's why you have movies like, or TV shows like The Good Wife, who starts off as the president's wife, and their marriage sucks dick, and then they want to get divorced and separated. And, you know, she keeps playing the part that they're together. Not long after they break up or whatever, the president's no longer the president. I think something to that effect. I don't remember. My wife used to watch it. I watched it with her. I really liked law TV shows, because now the way they do their law cases are not always the way it works, probably in real law, but the ideas and the factual cases and some of the concepts are actual real concepts. Now you have to look it up after you watch the show if you think, hey, maybe this will work in my court case, and you'd have to, you know. But the best thing you can do if you have a court case and you're trying to beat something, the best thing you can do, number one thing you can do, I mean, look up laws, look up your rights, learn all this shit that I've been talking about, becoming a person, not becoming a person, being an individual, a sovereign being, all that shit. But in court, if there has been a case similar to yours or exactly like yours, which happens, when a lawyer brings up to the judge, or even you bring up to the judge that in the case, Solomon versus the people, or Solomon versus the state, or Solomon versus whoever was the opposite person, okay, or the crown versus whoever, okay. In this case, this is what happened, what the person was suing this person for, or this person was on charges for this, and the case was overruled or judged in Solomon's favor because of this. So if your court case and you have the same circumstances, But the first, like I said, the first important thing you can do is find a case that has happened in history that is like yours, almost exactly like yours. And if you can say that the judge ruled in their favor, and the judge can see this case and read everything and why it was ruled in their favor, then your job after that is to either get your lawyer or yourself to prove that your situation is exactly like that situation. And then it's automatically in your favor. Because when a judge has already ruled, the judge is the judge. When you're in the courthouse, when you're having a court case, that judge is playing God. Okay? He is taking, this is very clear in the law, that God is the highest authority, and since we can't directly talk to God, we have inherent rights from God, is what Christianity and the Bible is used, being that they have the authority of God to either put people who, this comes down to persons and entities. Now, if you think you're the entity or the person, the corporation, let's say, on that paper, if you assume that your name, Corey LeBlanc, on a piece of paper is you, then they could throw Corey LeBlanc on that piece of paper in jail. And then technically, if you don't know any better, then you have to go to that jail too. But that all aside, if you disassociate with that, let's pretend like that's not an actual thing. So, but put that aside. Let's say you're not brave enough to try that, or you don't know how to do that, or you can't get a lawyer to help you with that, or whatever the case may be. You haven't gotten your record of live birth, and you haven't sent the Attorney General a statement saying, if you don't release, anyways, I forget, but I have episodes directly telling you how to do this and what the steps are. But anyways, all that aside, if you want to beat a court case, you got to find a court case that's like yours, exactly. It already happened, where a judge was playing God, and God ruled in the person's favor against the crown attorney, or against the defendant, or against whoever, whatever you're doing. And then the judge has to take that into account. And the only way to prove against you, because if you prove without a shadow of a doubt that your case is the same as that case, well, then how can God say in one circumstance that this person is innocent, and then in the same circumstance say you're guilty? They can't do that. It's impossible. Now, the crown is going to be trying to say, well, it's not the same circumstance because of this. So that would be your next job. After you find the case that resembles yours the most, you have to fine tune and get all the information that how your details are the same details as that, as your circumstances the same circumstances as that, and then critical think laterally on all the ways that crown is going to try to go against you. The more the better. And you can say, well, you're being impulsive and you're overthinking all this shit and whatever, but when it comes to court, you don't know what that crown's got. You don't know if they're in good mood, bad mood. You don't know if they got laid in a while or bitchy or whatever the case is. So your best bet is just to assume they're going to throw everything at you. They're going to do everything in their power to pretend that your case is a different case. So the more ideas you come up with and you find ways to counter it, the better off you're going to be. It comes down to this one thing, and there's exceptions to everything, so this isn't all-inclusive, and this is why, you don't use absolutes and say 100% it's always like this, and this is always the case, because nothing is. For every good, even if something is completely 99% good, there is a 1% bad chance, and that's your best case scenario. But most things are 50-50. But if you prepare for something, TV, okay, my TV died recently. Me and my wife always got the insurance for TVs, always bought insurance for TVs when we lease them, Leons, buy them out, whatever. Every time we get insurance, we never have to use the fucking insurance on the TV. And I shouldn't say this because I'm going to keep reaffirming it and making this thought form bigger. But when we have it purchased, when we're free from purchasing that fucking insurance, my TV popped. Fucking TV, we didn't even start paying for it. It was one of those things, don't pay for 18 months. Well, a month before we had to start paying for it, it's done. And we didn't buy the insurance because we never used insurance before. So this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. So once again, if you don't prepare for your court case, well, you're going to be like, fuck, if I would have prepared, I probably could have beat it. Or I would have bet it. But if you prepare for it, it's like, well, fuck, I bet that, no problem. I didn't even have to prepare for it. It was so easy. I did all that work for nothing, but who cares? If you do all the work and then you get the judgment you want, it ain't for nothing. You're swearing it in your way. What you're doing is in your mind, you're going through all the ways that this could be. You're already having your court case, but you're doing it in your mind. And you're making it habitual, and you're playing in your head visualizations. You might even put emotion into it. So you're creating a thought form to make this thing go in your way. You'll walk in that court, and they'll be like, yeah, sorry, we already ruled in your favor. We don't even need you here because you already did it all in your mind. Now, once again, this isn't all-inclusive, and it won't always work in your favor, but I'm telling you right now, This is why that negative meditation thing in the morning works. You wake up, and after you do like whatever you're trying to manifest and anything else, maybe a meditation and all that, say, okay, today I got to do this, and this, and the kids got to do this, and this has to be paid. Okay, so how and what can happen to ruin my day and make me all pissed off? And you go through all these scenarios without putting emotion into them, and then from there you realize, okay, well, if this happens, I can fix it by doing this. This happens, I can fix it by doing this. And then none of those things are going to happen in your day because you already resolved them technically in your head. It's a great thing to do. And I know a lot of people are like, well, don't think about negative stuff. And I'm all about that. You know, what you focus on expands. You know, what you give energy to grows, and you call it to you. You know what I mean? And so that's why I say, don't put the energy in it, which is the emotion. Don't put the action into it either. All you're doing in your head is thinking of, okay, well, let's say I have to pay this bill, and for some reason money comes out of my account, and I don't have enough money in the account. What can I do? Well, then you think, okay, well, what I'll do is I'll postpone the bill, blah, blah, blah. So there's no worries about that. Even if it happens, there's no worries. You don't put any emotion to it. You know, and then you can even say after, I banished that idea from even happening, and I accept that the money is in the account. And I'm grateful that the money has been in my account, and that I have even more money in my account. I will leave for some more to be. That goes a long way. I haven't been doing my negative meditations in the morning, or brainstorming, like I said. But when I used to, towards the end, when I realized the power of banish, reject, deny, I started using that. And like I said, the few times that I did a negative brainstorming and a couple of those things happened, I mean, it was very small when it did happen. It's like, I said, all right, babe, I already know what to do, and handled it. But for the majority of the time, especially at the end when I did banish, reject, deny, nothing ever happened. So, and there's a lot of power in that. That's how you can do mind magic right at the mental level every single day through your conscious mind, just by saying those things and then just letting them go. But I've went into that so many times that, you know, pick your choice of videos in the last probably like 4 months, and you know, every first or second one, every second one, I'm going to be talking about that, especially around April, May, June, July, August. Most likely you're going to get a lot. Maybe not so much September and October, but so anyways, I don't know why I'm talking about the court case and all that shit. I want to talk about something different, and I'm going to play something once again by you know who, Mystery School. I'm trying to pick videos that are very relevant and have really good information in it that, you know, maybe aren't the most popular, but, you know, but it's very hard because a lot of the videos are popular. But this one is Saturn return, and it's a very important concept to know. Once again, you know, the last video I made was the video I put on here that got me to stop being an armchair occultist. This video, I believe, is before that video, and it rang true to me, this video, because a few things. When I was 29 and 30 is whenever I got into magic. So I'm 34 now, and I'll be 35 next May. So it's going on very close to 5 years. Because like I said, I started this, I think when I was 29. And Saturn return, your first Saturn return happened somewhere between the ages 28, 29 to 30, 31, sometimes 32, depending on the person and where their birthday and all this shit is. But this happens for everybody at 30. And then the famous midlife crisis is somewhere around a little bit after 50. So what happens is, and this is according to Frater's information, and I think it's true, is, you know, so from your teen years, high school, and after high school, you start sowing the seeds for your life. You start planning. So if you went to college, and you know, and I'm not saying college always works, but there is some people that get jobs after college, and you know, maybe after college, you went to college for one thing, but then you got an opportunity because you were around people, because you had that motivation and that programming in your mind that you're going to succeed no matter what. So maybe you didn't necessarily get the job that you were going for, but you still got a job in a field that you like, or a career, and everything's working for you. Well, when your Saturn return comes around 30, and you're doing something you love, Saturn's gonna be like, fucking great job. You did what's up. You did something really good here, and you know, here's some more fucking reward and benefit. You're gonna start getting promotions, and maybe it's time to have children if you're a woman or something like that, and you've been focusing on your career. So then Saturn, because you know you did so good for so long, Saturn's gonna hook you up and give you kids and all, whatever that case is. But if you haven't been doing anything, if you've been just working remedial job after remedial job, you know, maybe you had to. Maybe you had 4 kids like me, and you had to just work jobs to pay the rent. And that's all fine and dandy. So, and that's the thing, like, when my Saturn return came, I had my house, I had 1 car, and I was married, and I had 4 kids. I just had my 4th kid. But and most people will say, well, that's success, and that's some people's idea of success is having a house and a car and a job, and then one day retiring. That's like what the picture of life is for a lot of people. And when my Saturn return came around, it's like, well, all these things are great, and I'm grateful I have them, but they didn't give me this lasting joy that I need. And, I'm doing a job I really don't like, so what the fuck do I do? What is going on? And I can only imagine right now, with what's going on in the world, and people going through their Saturn return, the ones that haven't shown anything, this is why people, that are on drugs, that have been druggies, and on disability, that are faking it, not the people that actually need it. And same with welfare, the people that actually need welfare versus the people that are faking it, and maybe they're drug or alcoholics. If their Saturn return comes around, that's why the highest suicide rate is people from 30 to 33, because that's the first time Saturn comes around, which is one of the reasons why Saturn gets a bad rap. But all the Saturn return is doing is literally telling you, hey, you haven't done anything with your life. Well, you're not going to get too many more chances, because as the years go on, it's going to get harder for you to do shit. So the best years and the easiest years of your life to probably do something, if you had the focus, are gone. But now you got a second chance. You're still young enough. You're still able to either lose weight, gain weight. You're still able to get in shape, or anything. Train your mind, get a new career. You're still young enough to go back to school. So now is the time to kick your ass in gear. But then people, if they procrastinate or they feel hopeless or whatever the case is, they'll be like, oh no, there's no fucking way. And they off themselves. Saturn doesn't make them off themselves. Saturn kicks them in the ass and says, hey, it's time to get in gear. It's time to fucking go. It's time to fucking move. It's time to do some shit. Because you haven't been doing anything. And you don't get a life and get your soul and have this fucking soul, whatever desire, or you don't have this purpose for nothing. Time to go find it. And I'm not gonna lie, recently and before this, if it wasn't for me having children, my wife too, but mostly my children, I've had thoughts of suicide, especially drugs, and with the drugs and all that. One of the reasons I started getting off drugs was around the age 28 or 29. Like I said, 7 years clean. I'm 34 right now, so that would put us at 27 whenever I stopped using opiates. And it's very close to that 28 age, what they say, right? But I think my full Saturn return, the full energies, happened around 29 or 30 for me. And I think I'm still going through it, because I still know I need to do something. I still know I need to have a purpose and a passion. One of the reasons I create these videos, and I have my podcast, and I have a website, a Ceremonial Witchcraft, which is just nothing important, really. A few little video clips and a bunch of pictures and just explaining what I do, and a couple links to my shows and all that. But one of the reasons I have this stuff is simply so that if something takes off, or when this takes off, people enjoy this and I start helping people, and maybe one day I am on a stage public speaking about magic, or maybe I make a little small school to help people in the flesh when COVID's done, or an online thing to help people. Hey, these are the steps I took, because I lack a little bit of fire. I have a great brain, a great intellect, I have a very smart, very good memory for memorizing anyways, and tell me where I left my keys and I'm not be able to find it. But it's hard sometimes for me to make a choice. I'm very indecisive sometimes, and depolarizing myself sometimes made that worse, because before I had trouble making a choice, and that's when I cared about the outcome. And then when you stop caring about the outcome and you're already indecisive, it's like, well, it really doesn't matter, so just fucking pick it. I don't care. And that's not something your wife wants to hear. It's like, hey, where do you want to go eat and have our date tonight? No, I don't care. It's like, I don't care. Who would care, And it's valid. I'm not saying that's not valid. That's a dick thing to say, and I've said things like that. So you know what I mean? I don't doubt that I was an asshole to her. I very much was. So, but anyways, but I'm indecisive and lack fire. So if there's people like that out there, once again, that's where Thunder Wizard saying take action is actually bang on. And even in here, depending on the person, some people need to take action in that way. But other people, it's like, well, I can't meditate, but I have no problem going and doing whatever you say, but I just don't understand how to visualize and meditate. And it's like, well, take the action to sit down and be quiet and be by yourself and try this shit instead of just saying I can't do it because I've never been good at imagining things. It's like, well, never too late to start. Saturn's going to kick your ass at 30 and tell you, hey, you need to start doing something. So, and I think a lot of this has to do with programming too. So if you're programmed for a certain thing that you're supposed to attain, okay, then, you know, and I think that's where I'm different for some reason. And, you know, because I don't know if I was programmed to have a house and car and all that, but I knew it was what my wife wanted, so I wanted to attain it for her. Once I attained it, it's like, okay, all the fun's in attaining the thing, right? The endorphin release and the dopamine hits you get from whenever you're fucking chasing something that you're trying to get, whether it's something you want or something else wants. The fun is in the chase, just like life. We're all destined to just die. We don't get to take this shit with us. So really, and then we just restart again. So it's really all about the journey. It's all about right here, right now, what you're doing now. And if you're miserable doing a job and wait until 65 to be not miserable anymore, well, why would you think that when you turn 65 you no longer have to work, your life's not going to be miserable? If you don't have money, if you don't have nothing to do and you're just sitting around the house watching TV all day, you think that's going to fulfill you? Like, I mean, no. Even traveling everywhere, traveling everywhere is going to be fun if you learn stuff and you get involved and do shit. But if you just go there and sit in a hotel and watch TV at night and then go to the beach during the day and sit there in the sun, it's like, it's not going to fulfill you either. But anyways, point is, what I was just trying to get into right just there was programming. If you're programmed to believe you want a house, a car, and all that, well, in your Saturn returns, you might feel a little bit of fulfilledness. But I saw it on my wife's face. She just turned 30. She turns 31 this January, and I saw it this year. You know, especially whenever she lost first promotion. She just got a promotion, so she's doing great, and that really helped. But prior to that, she was on the processing team, and she lost that, and we weren't doing well either. So it's like, okay, my man is having issues, and we're having issues as married, and then I just lost the job title I got. Start doing, she had a hard time with it, and then, you know, she would try to throw herself into, and she's still doing it, by the way, but she throws herself into renovating the house, because, okay, well, I own this house, and that's something that's important to me, and I'm proud of owning a house, and I really wanted to own a house, and I really wanted to own a car and have kids and be married. She's got all these accomplishments she put in her head. And as much as she likes being married and likes having a house and kids and all that, it's still not fulfilling. It's not like this thing, as soon as you reach it, you're done. As soon as you reach that level, you have to go to other levels to reach fulfillment. You know, it's like you first got to get to the house to realize, okay, well, the house isn't completely fulfilling me. But until you get that, you're going to be like, no. Once I get the house, I'll be happy. Once I get here, I'll be happy. But it's not until you get there that you realize, okay, I was happy for a fucking week or a year, but now, not so much. And that's just the way it works. And I saw it in my wife's face at one point. It's like, okay, well, maybe when I get a better job, my job, I make more money, I'll be happy. And she just did that, and she's still going around renovating, so she can put pictures on Facebook to show all the work we did in the house, to show everybody, hey, look, I have a house. And it's not that she's trying to brag, but she's trying to get validation from people that, hey, you got it made, you got the good life, and you should be happy about that. And maybe if she feels that people are proud of her and she did everything right, that she'll feel that inside, looking outwards. You know, same reason why she wants to lose weight. She wants to lose weight because she wants to look good, and it's not necessarily to get a man. I hope not. And it's not because I want to lose weight. I think she's fucking beautiful and gorgeous the way she is, but she thinks if she looks a certain way, then she's gonna feel better inside. And even if she lost 50 pounds, well, she said, well, I lost 50 pounds, I probably lose 20 more. You know, once I lose that 50 pounds, I'll be happy. Once I'm a size 2, I'll be happy. Oh, maybe when I'm a size 0, I'll be happy. Oh, maybe whenever I fade away and die, I'll be happy. You know what I mean? That's how I felt. But anyways, but, you know, I'm not a stranger to suicidal thoughts. I'm not a stranger to somebody who contemplated on committing suicide and writing pros and cons of it. I swear to God, that's how intellectual I am. I write pros and cons to suicide. And, you know, I never would have done it, I don't think. But I had to explore it for a few reasons. One, to understand my dark side, my shadow side. I had to think about why would it be a good idea and why would it be a bad idea for me to commit suicide. You know, and like I said, the main thing is my kids. To leave my kids without a parent and do all that damage to them not having daddy around, and my daughter being as young as she is, I can see her arguing with my mom, like, or with my wife, saying, I want daddy, and she's sorry baby, daddy's not here anymore, having that argument and feeling and seeing my daughter cry. You know what I mean? This is why every time I hear about another person, someone just died in my town, a young guy, a drummer in a band, he had 2 little fucking girls. I think about that, and it brings me to fucking tears, knowing that those little girls are going to be arguing with their mother about where's daddy, how come we can't talk to daddy, and it's like, you fucking selfish bastard. Like, how can you do that to your fucking kids? I understand feeling that hopelessness, though. I do. Life's hard, man. Life can be fucking hard. But you just made those 2 little girls' lives harder. You just made your wife's life harder. Like, how can you fucking do that? Oh, sorry. But seriously. So that stops me every time, And today, like I said, I'm at this hospital right here, and I see all these, mostly women, but there are men, and there's couples, obviously, when you see this family going in. And I mean, I don't know people's circumstances, right? The guy could be working, the mom could be a stay-at-home mom. And, or the guy could be out of the picture and never bothered, but mothers are more protective over their children. That's the way it is. That's why my wife's in there right now with my daughter, because there's only one person in, and I'm here in the car. I'm still here, but I'm here in the car, right? And it's just, it's as big as you could think your problems are. You see these people walking in with their children, and, some of them have mental handicaps, some of them have physical handicaps, some of them have both, some of them are terminally ill, these children. It's like, God, man, I'm so fucking blessed. I'm so fucking blessed and lucky. It's unbelievable. For everything I think I don't have, I have a whole fucking lot, and I'm so fucking thankful and grateful to all these energies and gods and beings and everything and anything and all there is for the life I have. And I'm so thankful that I figured out how I can, when I need to, change things. If someone gets sick, I can change it. If we have money issues, I can change it. If someone's having a hard time, I can change it. If we need something, we don't have the money or the means, I can change it. So grateful that I found this information. And it's because of, the man you're listening to, the man you're about to listen to, Frederick Xavier. I mean, I got a lot of gurus and people I listen to now. And, Ralph Smart was a guy I listened to before Frederick. So it kind of led me to him and stuff like that. And I got a lot of good information. And he's the reason that I don't eat meat and stuff like that. But if it wasn't for this magical curriculum, I still might be in a pretty dark place. Because, like I said, I got 10 grand and the extra car and everything I wanted to manifest using the law of attraction, which was really magic. It was really just magic that I was doing, explained it in a different way without, all the real significance behind it. So, I could still be doing that. I could arguably still be getting stuff magically. But, sorry, I got confused there. Holy fuck, that's my shit. But when I got the 10 grand, I mean, like I said, first of all, because I didn't move my financial set point, it went down to 5 grand. So I had to keep doing those money spells over and over and over again. And, maybe that was fulfilling enough. Maybe that kept me busy that I needed that. But it's not a complete fulfillment. Even when you get the material gains that you get, it's not a complete fulfillment. And I think that's one of the reasons why T-Wiz, Lightning Liz, Thunder Wiz, Doji Mahadevad teaches action, and finding your soul purpose. Because what is going to be fulfilling without end is doing the thing that you're meant to do. When you say, it's not just another plateau that once you get there, okay, I found my purpose and now I'm there and it's going to get boring and you need a new purpose. I don't think that's how the purpose works. I don't know if I have mine or not yet. I don't know if this is part of it or not. What I do know is, let's say I get a job. My career becomes teaching people on here or doing classes or seminars or whatever, on stage, whatever, something to that effect. Well, there's always going to be new people to teach, and there's always going to be hard cases and hard things that come through, and it's a changing atmosphere versus when you get the house and the car, you got to maintain a job to maintain those things that really don't give you fulfillment. It's a plateau, but whenever you do something that's fulfilling to you, if you like helping people, if you wanted to become an engineer and start creating inventions, well, there's always a new invention. So if inventing things is what gets you going, well, it's not like, okay, I made an invention and I'm rich now, so what? It's like, no, your passion is in making the inventions, and the money is the byproduct of you in creating these things. But you enjoy creating things, and these things are going to help people, whether it's make them more lazy or make them more intellectually smart, or make them be able to focus or do this shit. Whatever your invention is, the power is in you creating the invention, and you get your purpose out of creating the invention, and then you make money off of that, and that's your job. You know what I mean? So that's why finding your passion and purpose is the plateau that never plateaus. And that's how you know when you get things and they don't fulfill you. Well, that's how you know it's not your passion or purpose. You know what I mean? Because if you were to hit your passion and purpose, then you're not going to be satisfied. Sorry, you're going to be satisfied, but also never satisfied in the sense, not in the sense of like, fuck, I got the house and the car, and it's just like, well, what now? Like, I just gotta keep working this life to hold this, and this is supposed to be my happiness. Not in that sense, but you make an invention, accomplish your invention, then after, okay, you don't make an invention again for a little bit, you just work on, putting it out there, advertising, and, maybe that satisfies you too. Maybe you realize you're good at that and whatever, and you have all these other things that keep you busy. Maybe you don't like the whole selling and advertising part as much as the inventing, but how do you enjoy the inventing? Well, you gotta not invent for a little bit and then inventing is special again. The reason why here in Canada we love summer so much is because, well, winter kicks the shit out of us and it's cold as fuck. We gotta shovel snow and all that. And when summer comes, it's like, yes, oh, and we're shoveling snow and we're going out in fucking coats and all this other crap. In the same sense, how do you appreciate winter? Well, when there's no fucking bugs around and bees and stuff to sting you, because everything's dead. There's no need for the bugs, like the plant life and all that. Well, then there's no bugs around, so there's a few pros and cons, right? But you appreciate something. How do you appreciate love? Well, you go through shitty relationships before you find the great relationship, and then even within the great relationship, sometimes you have to have hard times and struggle through them, and then you realize, okay, well, that was a shitty time and that sucked, but because of it, now me and my wife are fucking closer than ever. So it's that pendulum swing. You go to the negative side, they go to the positive side. You go to the male side, you go to the female side. You know what I mean? You're always going back and forth. And that's one thing I always want to say, and I never really get to, but I got a whole video about how to get your pendulum to keep swinging and how to alter your mind so that you're always in the right pendulum side of the pendulum, because it's one of the Hermetic principles, right? The law of rhythm. But if you are poor right now, if you have no money, and it's been a while, well, the best thing you can hold on to, first of all, gratitude is the best emotion for making money. But that being said, if you can be grateful in that moment and just look past it, not keep yourself in that bad, negative, fearful state that you're never going to get money. Because according to the law of rhythm, the pendulum swings in everything. The amount that you go to the left side, the swing to the left is equal to the swing to the right. So if you're already swung over to the poverty side, well, if you're as low as you can go, and you tell yourself, you know what, well, can only go up from here. You're going to get that thing to start swinging this way, and the amount that you went this way, you're going to go this way. You're going to have a great fucking time. You're going to start seeing yourself out of poverty. This is why in my one episode I talk about this was, if you're in poverty right now, don't go get a bunch of credit cards. Don't go get a bunch of fucking loans or whatever. If you got to take a payday loan to pay a bill, or your power's going to be cut off or something, okay, do it. If there's another way, whatever, but because then you're just going to fuck up your poverty swing, because then you're going to get enough money to pay off that debt, but then you might swing back. You don't want that to be your you don't want that to be your pendulum swing. But if you can just change your focus for a little bit, it doesn't have to be all the time, and yes, you can still worry about bills from time to time, but do it maybe in a constructive way of trying to figure out what you can do to make things better, or whatever the case is. But just know that the pendulum swing isn't everything. Not only that, the only constant you can depend on, the only constant there is in life, the only thing that we can bank on, is that nothing stays the same. That change is inevitable. And as within, so without. But in addition to change is constant, the pendulum swings in everything. And this is why change is constant, because it doesn't matter. You can be all the way to the left, and it's going to go to the right. So if your political party is Republican, well, eventually it's going to go back to the Democrats, or liberal, conservative, or whatever the fuck the spectrum is. I don't vote. I'll let stupider minds. No, not stupider minds. That's not nice to say. My parents. Well, I don't know. My parents are stupid. So sorry. But some people like politics. Some people like following it. To me, it's a big show. It's on TV. It's on the news. They even show you the fucking debates like it's a fucking hockey game. One team against the other team. Who can win? Back and forth, you know? I mean, it's entertaining. To me, it just holds no weight. But anyways, the only constant is change, and that's because the pendulum swings and everything. So if you are poor right now, stop dwelling on those thoughts of being poor, and you will get your pendulum to move over faster. No matter what, it's going to change. No matter what, it's going to change. But the pendulum swings and everything. So this is the pendulum. You can't change the pendulum swing. You can't change that shit. What you can change is the down here. And down here is where the pendulum swing in your life. Think of it as your chart. The chart you can't change. It is the way it is, okay? Well, with the pendulum swing, you can kind of change depending on where you're. So if you think about the pendulum swings and all things. So it's swinging in your love life, swinging in your financial life, swinging in your family life, it's swinging in your career life, it's swinging in everything, every part of your fucking life. Every one of those houses around your chart, one of those signs, there's a pendulum swinging all those, okay? Just like every planet has a polarity. You know, every fucking sign has a polarity. You know, and then signs like Gemini and Libra literally have it built in them. Libra is the scales, you know, fair or good or evil, or, you know, like the old Egyptians, they'd weigh your heart against the feather, and if you had a heavy heart, well, the fucking negative force, that alligator looking fucking dude or whatever it was, it fucking ate you, or the good force would get you, and you had to go through a labyrinth before you even got there, which is a great fucking metaphor, by the way. I don't know if it's true or not, because I've never been Egyptian and died that I know of, but the point is, the pendulum swings and everything. So if you were looking at your financial situation, okay, this is where the set point thing comes in. Your financial set point is within your financial pendulum. So over here is on the, let's just use the right, okay, being good. So right on the right is your financial set point, meaning I make 20 grand a year, which is not enough to survive, not with my kids. I make 20 grand a year, and that's all I can get. So if I get 20 grand all at once, I'm going to lose a lot of that, which is why you need to up your financial set point. But 20 grand, well, let's go 50 grand, okay. 50 grand a year, and over here, and that's why, anyways. And then over here is poor, broke-ass, no money in the negative. Let's say negative 50 fucking grand, right? Most people are in the middle. That's why they live paycheck to paycheck. They get to pay, they lose it. They spend it all. And sometimes they even go in debt. Besides that, then their pay has to bring them back to neutral. All right, sorry about that. My wife called me and said they were done at the dentist and they were coming out. Man, fuck, man, I never even paid for parking. We normally go in and we park by one of those parking gates, and then you gotta pay to get out. We got parking in the front that's normally always taken. And who knows, COVID, rainy day, whatever. There was cars not in that spot. A bunch of cars, there's no spots there. And this way you don't have to actually go through the gate. It's like, so you can bring your wife to the door in case you're not staying or whatever the case, or you have kids that, you know, like I said, it's a hospital for kids. So, but anyways, parked there, started recording, forgot to go get the thing, and then my wife calls me done, so I never had to pay parking. I mean, it only went $13, but you know, save $13. Just saving $13. That's like 2 bags of milk and a bag of cheese strings. I mean, that's helpful. It's like about 4 days of milk and, you know, a week's worth of cheese strings for my youngest daughter. So, fuck, that's something. You know, all a little bit counts. But anyways, so I think I said, okay, we'll say 50 grand instead of the 20 grand was where I was at. I'm back at home in my hometown now, Cornwall, an hour away. So I just drove back, did a bunch of shit, made a couple candles for whatever. Got some fire burning outside at my outside altar. I got an altar outside of my house. I got an altar room in my basement. I got an altar in my bedroom. It's like, I got altars everywhere. I practice everywhere. Now, technically, all my altars are supposed to be in my room, one in each direction. Technically, as you do the elemental grades, you get a new altar in that elemental spot. So, first elemental grade is of earth, and generally your first one is in the east. So when you pass the neophyte grade, technically your altar is in the east, but my altar is in the center of my room, facing east, right? That's how it begins. Then first elemental grade is put in the north for the elemental grade of earth. And then it would be, anyways. And then you keep going, and you get the altars all around the room. So you have one in the main one in the middle, and you have one in every direction after that. But because I'm also a witch, I like to do shit outside. I know there's power in doing shit outside. So on my back deck right now, you'll be able to see. If I zoom in, fucking. Okay, you can't see that, can you? All right, so let's go on location here. We'll do a little walkabout. All right, so I'm coming over here. So this is the area I was just showing you. Okay, and right there, you can see there's my pentagram. There's that on fucking bee. So this is the cup I made. I made this cup out of wood. That's out of a Christmas tree. I peeled the Christmas tree, took the wood, made it on the inside. That was my attempt to make like a moon there at the top. Didn't really work out well. Yeah, that's my cup I made. But anyways, and see how my blade here is upwards. That's how they keep the power. And yeah, I got a fire going. That's of old wax and some blood on some tissues from when I shaved and cut myself, or I pop a pimple and it bleeds after I wipe it off. I don't waste that shit. I take that blood that's on a rag or on a Kleenex and I keep it aside. And when I do a spell, I use this as an offering. You know, who says it has to be blood dripping right on your candle that you just slice with your arm? Who says? Why can't it just be blood on Kleenex that you use? Wrap that Kleenex around your old pieces of wax that didn't completely burn. So, because you ask for something, you put a sigil on a candle or whatever, and then the candle is done, most of that energy is up there, but there's still a piece of that still left here. So for that to manifest, what I do, everything they say you can't burn and bury, the ground will do the rest. So shooting stuff in the garbage will work, but it's in your house, and then it's in your garbage can outside, and then it goes in the dump truck that day, and then it gets to the landfill. Well, how long does it take to get put underground at the landfill? Is gonna be how, and you're gonna be like, fuck, it's been like 4 months, it still hasn't manifested yet. Well, because all your representations are in your garbage, you're just shooting them out. If you take the initiative and burn all a little bit of wax that's left, every last little bit, then you can find, and the things you can't burn that are metal or whatever the case is that won't burn, or glass that broke or something like that, bury that shit. Have a spot in your yard that you bury shit. And you'll see it manifest faster. Because that's why we put stuff. We don't burn the stuff anymore, although they do burn some things at your dump. But anyways, why am I talking about that? So, talking about the pendulum swing, 50 grand, and how you control this thing. So you get 50 grand and that's your set point. You can't get past that set point. That's what you make for a year. So technically, you divide that by how many months there is and how many weeks there is. And, you know, this is how I thought of it. This is how I logically thought of it. It may not be how this works, but that's how I logically thought of it. So, you know, tripling your set point, let's say, as an example, making candles and say, I'm so grateful that my financial set point, my financial comfort level, my programmed financial earnings for 1 year I'm so grateful it has tripled, you know. Well, if it was 50 grand, well, now it's at 150,000, which means you divide that by the 12 months, and then you get how much per month you're allowed to have. You divide that by the 4 weeks in a month, or divide by 2 if it's bi-weekly you get paid, and whatever you minus your pay from whatever you have there, and that's how much money extra you can get a month. That will be your set point, and that's how you can tell if you've actually doubled or tripled your set point, if the magic has worked, and you can go through and whatever. Anyways, holy fuck, the leaves are blowing like crazy around here right now. But so once again, if that's what happens. Oh, I think my cup just fell because of the wind. Spirits are mad. I put them on camera. Sorry guys, no harm. I'm just trying to teach you beautiful science. The wind just calmed down. Love it. See, trees aren't blowing as much now. My big tree right here to the right of me is a bunch of leaves everywhere all over the place. The tree to the right of me is still green as fuck in my yard. It's crazy the difference what a fence can do around a tree. But anyways, I don't know where I was going with that whole thing, but your pendulum swing. So basically, you know, you're allowed to make 50 grand a year, and then financially, you have that for your year. Your year, you're going to see there's going to be places in your year you're up, you're down. You're going to see that in your week. You're going to see that in your day. Everything breaks down to this. So you got a pendulum swing within the day where you're going to be happy and sad for your emotions, where, whatever. This isn't everything. And I have a whole episode about this. I don't think I really need to get into this, although I think it's important to also revisit things that you made in the past, because even the person who taught you something, who, if they go over their information that they already taught, they're going to get new understandings and be able to relate it better and have new experiences. Because let's say I made that video a year ago. Well, a year ago I didn't go through the things I just went through. So now, not only do I have my old experiences I can draw on, I have my new experiences I can draw on, and I can add to those lessons. That's why teachers get better with time. Like a teacher at school to an occult teacher, they get better with time. The older around, that's why the older ones are more experienced, unless they get lazy and stuck in their ways and just keep telling you to go look at my old videos, which you should. But anyways, I can't remember where the fuck I was going with that whole pendulum thing and why I even got onto it. But that's the only constant in life. This has nothing to do with what I wanted to talk about today either. I just get into this big rant, and this is what I mean. Like, sometimes you can have a whole idea of what you want to talk about, and then you can end up talking about something else for like an hour. It doesn't even matter. It's crazy. But anyways, yeah, I was trying to figure out how I was going to tie the pendulum into the set point, and I have a few ideas in my head, but I can't see how that's what I was talking about earlier. I think your set point, though, like, if you go over your set point, well, that's the reason why something happens, and then kickstarting the pendulum to go the opposite way is within you. I mean, it's a rhythm that happens regardless. It's always going to go back and forth. It kind of has to. That's the point of life. That's why depolarizing yourself is so important, because when your pendulum is all the way and you're an abundance of money, let's say it's the time of the month where you get a lot of money, your spell came through, plus you got paid, got all this extra money, things are great. You can go and buy whatever you want. You don't have any stress like that, whatever. That's great. You're all happy, and then all of a sudden the opposite happens. So you're without the money for now, or you spent all the money and you have to wait till more money comes in. You have to do the spell and have to wait for the more money to come in. If you're not depolarized, you can get down on yourself and be upset, and the longer you're upset, the longer you're going to stay in that state. Now, it's not going to last forever, but the less you know this concept, the longer you can stay in that state. Some people can have bad luck for a while. This is where the nature of curses come in. If you're cursing yourself, saying stuff over and over again, you're putting yourself in that polarity. You're putting yourself on that part of the pendulum swing. And what ends up happening is, instead of your pendulum swing going from, okay, I'm broke now, but I know I'm going to get paid in 2 weeks, so there's no issue. When people have that kind of idea, it's like, oh, it's too bad. We have no money. We got to do whatever for a few days. Luckily, we have hobbies, we have food in the house, and we have things to do. So we'll just do the things that don't cost money until we get our money back. Then their polarity, their pendulum swing is in a good state, because it's okay, we got no money in the bank, but we're not in debt, and we got stuff in the house. And then boom, we got extra money, and then we can do the extra fun things for a few days, and then we have to wait a few days till we get money, and then we got the money and we got no money. We got the money, we got no money. That's a good pendulum swing. To me, that's healthy, and that's how my life kind of works, right? And then you can have a better pendulum swing than that. Then is you get the money, you do a few things with your family, but not so much. You make sure everybody's got stuff and everybody's got hobbies and things they can do, and the extra money, instead of going out all the time, buying booze or dope, or buying clothes or shopping online, every time you have extra money, instead of saving it, you tend to spend it, but you keep putting it in the account. Well, then you change your pendulum swing. So now you're never going to zero money. You're going to, we have money, we buy the things we need, and then we put the money in the bank. And then next paycheck, we got money, we buy the things we need, and we put more money in the bank. Now your pendulum swing goes from, I have money in the bank when I'm broke, then I can use if I need to, but I'm not going to. And then, oh, I get paid, I get to do those things still. Or you can go below that point, and then be on, your pendulum swing can be from, I got no money coming in, so I'm gonna go get credit, and I'm gonna spend the credit, and I'm gonna get overdraft. So you're allowed to go 800 negative. Boom, you're 800 negative, and you maxed out your credit cards. You get paid, you got to put something on your credit card so they don't put you in the credit bureau, and your paycheck just gets you to a zero balance. And then you got to go to negative every time, and then that becomes your pendulum swing. You see what I mean? So now your pendulum swing is way on, and I don't mean left is in bad or left is bad, but let's just say you're all the way on the left side now, going from the extreme left to not so extreme left, extreme left to not the extreme left. See, you're still changing. You still go from bad to not so bad, instead of going from not so bad to medium, or from medium to good, and then back to medium and good. You see what I mean? So there's this pendulum swing. You get to control the extremes, and when you're depolarized, well, because what happens is if you think, okay, well, we got no money coming in, but you know, things aren't so bad because there's things to do and whatever else. Well, if that's the way you think, then you're never going to go past that point. You're never going to say, okay, I need to get credit and go broke, and I need to do this and that, and I need to go steal and whatever, or get all depressed and go on drugs to get over it. You're not going to do that. If you're depolarized, it's like, well, yeah, we got no money right now, but we have all these other great things around the house. And look, we got a garage full of stuff we don't use. If we sell that, we can make money. If you have that kind of mindset because you're depolarized and you don't have an attachment to all those things in the garage and, you know, shit like that, well, then you're going to bounce your swing back because it's going to be like, well, you know, you did good. You passed the test. And you go back, and you go back, and you go back, and you go back. You know, that's the only constant. But you can have that shitty one I talked about earlier. Anyways, I have a video about this. Go look it out. I'm pretty sure it's right in the title. The pendulum swing, a lot of rhythm. It's older, but it's still a goodie. It's classic. It's one of the ceremonial witchcraft's best. Trust me, I know that guy. That guy's fucking awesome. Anyways, but in that same retrospect, that's wrong. In the same manner of thinking, along those same lines, what I was just thinking, when it comes to what I was just talking about, whenever you depolarize, you kind of know. And when you have this knowing that the pendulum swings and everything, and you don't let the extremes get to you. Sometimes when you're all positive, it can fuck you up too. You can think, you can start being worried. You can get so happy that everything's going so good that you start becoming fearful that it's going to go to shit again, which it will, because that's the nature of reality. But it's people that don't know it's going to come back. They want that for their whole life, and you can't think that the circumstance you have right now is how you want your whole life to be all the time in the same moment. You can't ever think like that. You can be that. You can have that interior emotional state and state of mind that your life is always going to be good no matter what happens outside of you. If you're strong inside, you can have that. But you can't say, well, as long as the outside's strong, I'm going to be strong inside. And as soon as the outside changes, well, I don't want this outside to change. Well, it's going to change. Well, no. And then you get scared, and then obviously it changes, and then you're fucked up. And then you keep pushing your thing back. Well, that's another reason why, you know, knowing, here's another way to help for suicidal thoughts and stuff like that. If you are in a place like that, well, once again, now you know it's going to change. Your life is going to get better. It has no choice. You can make that change happen as soon as you want to, as soon as you're ready for it, as soon as you're ready to stop being addicted to those negative thoughts and, you know, ready to give up that lifestyle of playing the victim and letting people pity you and all that. As soon as you're ready to change that, you can push your pendulum in the other way. It's not going to be easy. Fuck no. Fuck no. And I don't know what you went through, and you might have been going through stuff worse than me, so, you know, I'm sorry if that happened to you, but you can change it. You can push the other way. And the one thing I know is that no matter, because even recently, even when all this shit happened to my wife, I had so many hard nights that I just couldn't sleep because I felt like I didn't know my wife of 11 years. Well, we've been married for 6, but this woman I fell in love with, that I projected all these ideals on, that she's perfect, she's a saint and all this shit, which isn't true and I shouldn't have done. But all these things I projected on her just came crashing down. You know, I'm always talking about deprogramming myself. Well, I just lost the programming in my mind that my wife is perfect, that my wife would never do these things. No matter what I do to her, she will never cheat on me. She will never do this. And in an instant, July 23rd, I lost all that. Within a matter of 5 minutes, I grabbed her phone. She freaked out. I knew something was wrong. I asked her if it was a guy. She tried to lie about it, and then she ended up telling me the truth and showed me the messages, and it was like, whoa. In a matter of 5 minutes, my whole life flipped upside down. But what I know, and what helps the pendulum go back and forth for me, is that change is the only constant. It's the only variable you can depend on. And that this is a test. Everything is a test. Everything I'm going through right now is a test. I had to break that programming that my wife is perfect, because no person's perfect. Even though I thought she was perfect, even though she wouldn't be into the stuff I'm into and she won't learn this stuff, it didn't matter to me because I thought she was damn near perfect. You know, I still believe she's kind of pretty perfect, but she's not absolutely perfect. So the point I'm trying to get at here is that no matter what happens in your life, especially if you've been through shit already, if you've been through the addictions and you've been through the losses, losing kids, God forbid, or partners, or our loved ones and money situations and being on the street, if you survive through these terrible moments, as long as it doesn't have to be that extreme, because if you haven't been through bad things and then you suffer like a big loss and you lose your house and then you get divorced, okay, that's arguably not as bad as losing a child, but in the same sense, if that's the worst thing that's ever happened to you, it feels fucking terrible. It feels so hard. And you feel like, well, I should still be grateful because this kid's dying and I don't have a dying kid and all that. And yeah, you should be grateful that your kid's not dying, but you know, it doesn't make your suffering any less. But in the same sense, you can change it. You can change everything, and you can make sure stuff like that never happens again. Tragedy's still going to happen. Entropy's still going to happen. It's a part of life. Things die, decay, and then get renewed. You know, it's just a part of our fucking life. But if you've been through the worst shit that's ever happened to you, and you're still here, well, that means you're strong and you're powerful. And the reason that you haven't decided to just be a selfish person and let everybody else deal with the fact that you committed suicide and make your kids grow up with a parent asking, fucking them up and all that. If you didn't do that and you're still here, well, you've got something to give. You got something to give people. You're here for a reason. And you got to find that. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to everybody else that in the future that you're going to help. Whatever you've been through could be something that you can help teach. It might not even be your passion, but you might start talking about it and you might help other people. And then through helping other people, you might say, Saturn, when he comes back around, might be like, you know what? You did a hell of a job. Here's your passion. This is the thing you've been looking for. You weren't ready for it until just now. You know, I'm not sure if that's how it works or not. That came to me, so who knows? But anyways, I'm gonna play this video, a few clips from it. I might not play it in order. I might play like some parts first, some parts next, some parts whenever. I mean, you might have even already seen some of it right now. I might have played it right off the hop. I don't know, but yeah, listen to it. And I may come on after, but if not, I think the things I already said are pretty self-explanatory towards the video. And you know, I like using Frater's videos to kind of help me along, help me teach. But really, it's because I get inspiration from them. I get inspired when I watch his videos. This is me watching the Mystery School probably for like the 10th time, going back through the videos. Right now, I'm going through them backwards, from last to first, just to, you know, that's how you see progress. But anyways, you can see the progression when you watch it the other way, but you can see the progress he made when you go the opposite way. But anyways, so yeah, I can't guarantee I'm gonna be back on. I might just release this, and then if I want to keep talking about this shit, I'll make another video talking about it. Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck cares? I don't. All I know and all I care about is, yeah, when I make really long videos, my last one was like 2 hours, 30 minutes. I think it's got 2 views. So, you know, maybe I'm better off to just make the smaller videos because at least they get viewed by like 20 people on YouTube. But once again, every one of these videos I make, I also upload it to my Spreaker, and it goes on. It ends up going on goes on one of my podcasts. So, you know, it's all good either way. So it gets heard, it gets seen. Like I said, I got 300 followers on fucking Spotify. I still don't believe how that is. I was like, how is that possible? And that's what I mean. So I'm like, okay, so if the followers on the Spreaker app say I have 6, and the views on my Spreaker app say I have like 1,500 downloads, I'm like, I thought that was from all the platforms. And it still could be, but if it was, then why would Spotify say I have 1,300 downloads with 300 followers, and then it tells me a different count of live views, which is like 200 or 300, just like the Spreaker one is 200 or 300, but you see what I mean? Like, it's crazy. So I'm guessing each platform is different. Anyways, I think it's fucking sick. And to everybody out there who's checked out my podcast and watches these videos, I really, from the bottom of my heart, am grateful, and I thank you. And I hope if I've helped you in any way, shape, or form, I hope I stated that wrong. I really hope I've given you guys help and helped you in some way. Then, you know, that's kind of what I wanted to do. Like, I initially wanted to be a voice out here to tell people that there is something to this magic shit, to causing change with conformity with your will. There's something to it, and I want to explain how I do it, just to help people. And initially it was just to help people do magic, but now I also want to, if someone's having a hard time with drugs, if someone's having a hard time with suicide, if someone's having a hard time with just life in general, keeping a mate or whatever, I want to help. And I might not be the best person to help about keeping a mate, granted all the things I just went through, but, you know, learn from my mistakes. Yeah, so if I don't come back on, I just want to say, once again, thank you to everybody who does check this out. And, you know, if you are having bad thoughts and hard thoughts, if you have parents, or if you have, especially if you have small children that won't understand, you know, like, where's daddy? And when mom says, you know, oh, daddy's gone, and them freaking out crying because they just miss you, you know, having that sadness in their heart. And I'm sorry to anybody who's lost anybody recently, and I make that worse for you, but just give that a hard thought, you know, before you decide to do that. And also know you're worth living. This is just a test. Whatever you're going through, I know it's hard. I know people can be assholes. Sometimes it just seems like no one cares, but I care. I care. I really do. Reach out. Talk to me. I'll help you. I will. I promise. I will. I'll give you a shot. You know, it doesn't matter. And even if you're still in victim mode or whatever the case is, don't matter. If you're having those thoughts, and you have, you know, especially if you have small children, but even if you have small nieces or nephews or your fucking parents, for God's sakes, you know how much they're gonna blame themselves? Like, just reach out, okay? Anyways, have a great fucking day.